Welcome back, folks. Back to my place, Homestead Aquarius. I wanted to make a quick episode here and call this sort of like a cleanup thing. Some odds and ends that I wanted to get done. Yesterday, I wanted to do this, but I ran out of daylight and couldn't find all my beans in here. One thing, whenever I put these rattlesnake beans in this bucket to grow, I did not add any fertilize to it, and I've got it. I want to do that. These beans will probably be just fine in here, but it's a confined place, and I want to make sure that they get all the nutrition that they can. I've gone ahead and dug up these beans, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 that was in there. One of them swollen up like it's getting ready to germinate, and I'm going to add 4 more. Beans are pretty cheap, and one thing that I want to do is I want to follow along with OAG with how he grows his rattlesnake beans. Now, he showed it in the ground, and this is a bucket, but I'm going to apply the same thing here. Okay, he showed getting a little bit of 777 fertilizer, and I couldn't find any 777. I found 677, and I'm hoping that will be close enough. It's one of them things where it's better than nothing, and so I'm going to do that. And his tip that was so very important, I think, to me, is that you want to put that in your hole, in your furrow, and let that be the only thing that you fertilize. His point was to fertilize your beans and not the rest of the area. You don't need to broadcast that fertilize over every little place. You can be more resourceful than that and just put it where you need it. That way it feeds your beans and it doesn't feed the weeds. You see, that makes sense to me. Very good sense. It's not wasteful and it targets what you're wanting. Now here's 4 more that I'm going to add into here. And I've got a few ideas to bring you about this little system here, just beans and buckets. But did I put it? I didn't sprinkle it in there. Oh, this old man's head I've got. Man, I take that back. Now, old Alabama gardener, he's older than me just a little bit, and he's a lot sharper than I am. Okay, I'm done messed up. I didn't even put no fertilizer on this side, did I? You know what? I'll probably go back and find out that I did. I can't even find the beans again. Lord, this is gonna be such a messed up thing. Just a little bit in there. Okay. If anything comes out alive in this bucket and gets more than 6 inches tall, I'll be surprised. and maybe you will too. But anyhow, I wanted to make sure to add some fertilizer to that. 3 minutes in here, I said it's going to be a short video. It's odds and ends. Now this one here, okay, this is where it's going to cost me some time. Okay, the rare sweet potatoes that I've got. Okay, there was something bothering me about the potato boat. Okay, I knew it was a half-baked idea. Something was bothering me, and what it was is the fact that I'm using that raw water, that raw wild water. And you know, raw wild water, especially in that funky aquaponics tank that I've got over there, it's wild. That's a little pond right there, just completely wild. It's not haven't done anything to it. So there's all kinds of stuff in there, and these little sweet potatoes are hard to find. So I took them out and put them into here. But in the meantime, I've learned more ways to start sweet potatoes, and that I think are pretty good. Okay, pretty good. And I'm going to share that. What is that? Is that a little fungus? Looks like possibly a little fungus there. A lot of times these don't start right. And I want to tell me if this makes sense to y'all. Okay, the way we typically start sweet potatoes is with, hey, like I showed you with the bottle method. You know, we stab them. You know, some people stab them with toothpicks and stick it down in some water. Okay, well that ain't now how nature does it. It's not. And who said that sweet potatoes are supposed to be stabbed down in the ground? Do these things grow high up, like 100 foot up a tree, and then fall? They go bonk. Do they do that in nature? No, they don't. That's not how they grow. That's so it makes complete sense to me that that method is not the best thing to do. You know what? I just broke off that little root doing my little drama thing there of showing this thing falling. So there you go. Follow me for more ways to screw up your plants. Yeah, nature doesn't do that. What does nature do? These things are laying in the ground. Whenever the plant dies back, it's just laying there, right? Waiting for the next season's active conditions for it to sprout. And that's what we need to do. And I found a couple of videos showing about that. The best ways to start sweet potatoes, and I believe it's true, and that's the way I'm going to do with these, is what I'm going to show you. You want it laying down. And although nature's soil is not sterile, I'm using sterile soil. I'm using just regular potting soil out of the bag, and I'm using spring water, bottled spring water, nice and clean. No types of pathogens in there. No little wild buddies to cause any problems. And what I've done is taken out this first failed potato boat because I cut it wrong, and it's going to come in handy now. The right conditions for starting your sweet potatoes the best way. Now, maybe I'll put this out there as a thank you to Arkansas Woodcutter. That's right. You see, he sent me a care package today, a really nice one. I'll show this to you. I'll show this. I think he sent it before he went off his rocker. Okay, he did. Let me show you this. I'll just take you over here. Y'all don't mind the mess, okay? I don't mind it, so y'all don't mind it. I was out here shipping off, getting my strawberries ready to ship off to my compadre on Team Will It Grow out there at Crooked Orchard family, Crooked Woods Family Orchard. I get my names mixed up so bad. Arkansas, the woodcutter out there, he sent me some irises that are going to be so beautiful. I love irises. It's one of the flowers that I want to have here. I don't think they're edible. They're not edible, but they're beautiful. We got to feed the belly and the eyes. But he also look at what's in here. These are elephant garlic that he sent me. I have been wanting those for a while. They're very heavy producers and loved around the world. Those are survivors. Both of these things. Irises are wonderful. I've been wanting some of these. And look at what he also sent. Like I said, this must have been before he went crazy and started the war. Look here. Arkansas Woodcutter. I appreciate you, brother, sending me this. The heat mat. This is going to help me grow so many seeds, so many little plants from seeds. It's not funny, especially with all the peppers that I've got. And, I think you sent this before you went off the deep end and started this big shed war thing that you did. I think that's what happened and it got here. But let's just say that, you got a good heart. And even though that's going on, you're helping. I don't think so. I think you're crazy. I think I just got lucky. And, I think you sent that out before we went into you drug the whole world into shed wars. But I've got it now. Now, I'm telling you, you need to calm down. Because with what you just gave me, That's going to be tremendous. But let's just say that that you still got a good heart in you. All right. And it was after shed wars. Whatever it is, you did me a favor. I've got it. I'm going to do you a favor and show you this best way to start your sweet potatoes. Okay. The best conditions for starting sweet potatoes is a warm, humid environment and dark. What have we got here? That bottle was spray painted black. Inside there, I have that potting soil. It's sterile potting soil. I've added spring water to it. Okay. I'm going to take these and set them right down in there. What's that going to do? Well, I'm going to keep it out of the direct sun because I don't want to cook my little sweet potatoes. See it right there? Just laying in there. And I'm going to let that water stay in there. It's a little too wet. It should not be that wet, but it won't be wet for very long. It'll dry out fast, even out of the direct sun. Look at here. All right, you see that? See that little root right there? Just these were in here one night. That's about all they were in here for. It already had a little tiny little bud on it, but now it's forming a root. All right, and that was in this hydroton. It might have been 2 nights. And what I did is I had these sitting on top of my coffee maker. And so they got a little extra heat in the morning, but they were covered in those Ziploc bags. All right, so I'm going to take this little rooted one here, and I'm going to set it right down in there in that soil in this little lifeboat, right? That's where it's going to set right there. Now that heat, I'm going to keep, like I said, I'm going to keep it warm. The humidity and the darkness is going to duplicate the conditions of the jungles where this would be from, the tropical areas. It's going to be in the undergrowth, laying there on top of the ground, barely covered in the ground. That's what nature does. She doesn't drop them from 100 feet up in the air and they stab in the ground. So this is the best way to start sweet potatoes. And should we ever get through this or something, maybe we'll have a peace day or something. Maybe I can swap with you. Maybe I can get you some of these and pay you back with a little bit more than just a tip on how to grow your sweet potatoes the right way. But watch out for any kind of cut marks or anything that you've got on them. Make sure that that's good. And it's 13 minutes long. That's kind of getting a long video. But the sweet potato boat, I don't want to do that. Now, later on, I will grow my sweet potatoes. You know, I can grow them in aquaponics, but I don't want to start them and count on that. The roots do just fine. And I've seen aquaponics in water. Now, here's another little tip for you. Out there in my Jerusalem artichoke bed, the cats have been having a field day. I'm going to fill that sucker up with pine cones. Yes, sir. I'm going to put pine cones all in that bed because that is not their personal restroom. And probably what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mulch the top over this. May do it with little broken up pine cones. May put a little mulch on top. But anyhow, I added fertilize to the beans, and I have shown you the best way to start sweet potatoes that I know of. And this is what I'm going to go with. I've got a couple of other varieties that I'm going to try this with, or do this with. And the one that I put in the bottle, I'm going to swap over to this method as well. Keep it warm, keep it out of the light, and keep it humid. Like I said, the soil is too wet that you're seeing here. You don't want that. You want it to be, moist, but not really wet. Like I said, though, this is going to dry out really fast. I ain't worried about it. So, otherwise, what are we doing? We're setting them in a water, But anyhow, today from Homestead Aquarius, just a quick thing. just wanted to clear those two things up, and I'm going to bring you some tips tomorrow on a little bit more about strawberries and the offer to share out strawberries that I told you about earlier with the seeds. So stick with me for that, and appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all have a great day, and I hope you'll see me back tomorrow. I hope to see you. That's why they call these things a monitor. I can see you. I'll see you tomorrow.